So you're telling me that you could still receive all the medicinal effects through the treats that are being created right now, like the marijuana lollipops, the marijuana brownies, and all kinds of stuff? That these stuff would heal the body?
Since you do incline that marijuana is a natural healer.
Yeah, but it has to be natural marijuana.
So there is a lot of unnatural marijuana.
No, we cannot use the hybrid, They talk about kush and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's hybrid.
I got
We talk about the real marijuana with seeds. That's medicinal.
Now, in no way, fashion, or form am I promoting marijuana. That's just one of the plants that Dr. Sebi used in his medicinal practices. Alfredo Bowman, known as Dr. Sebi, claimed that a unique vegan diet, the alkaline diet, was consisted of fruits, vegetables, and different types of plants. Now, I'm not going to be able to name each vegetable, plant, or fruit because it's a lot of them, but you can also do a research for yourself later to see which plants, vegetables, and fruits are included in the alkaline diet. But before I dig deep into this documentary, there's a few things that I just wanted to point out. Now, if anybody in the future does plan on becoming a vegan or does plan on trying the alkaline diet or at least adding these vegetable, fruits, or plants to their diet, then I would advise that you buy the organic stuff inside the store that has the seeds, because these other stuff, that's by these major companies and stuff like that, if you notice that they don't have any seeds, like the oranges, tangerines, the watermelons and stuff like that, they don't have seeds anymore, like how they used to have seeds that when we were little. So and the reason why they don't have seeds is because these companies, they don't have the patience to wait for these plants to grow. So what they do is they find a way to cheat, and somehow they have some kind of stuff in the lab or whatever, and they make the plants grow faster, or they have these little mini labs or whatever, they make them grow faster, but they're not like normal oranges, normal fruits and stuff like that, because they don't have seeds. And if they don't have seeds, that means they can't reproduce. Back in the days or whatever, people took their time to grow things. Now everything is just laboratory tested, and they putting the whatever lamps over it, and making them grow real fast, but they don't have no seeds. If you was to sit up there and plant an orange seed, it wouldn't take overnight to grow. It would take a little minute for you to like get oranges and stuff like that. So they just don't have the patience. What they really trying to do is make money as fast as they can, so they need those plants to hurry up and grow. Now, if you actually go inside your local grocery store, you will see that they have organic stuff. And if you notice that the organic stuff costs a little more, and that's because it's real. And like if you buy a real purse, real shoes, and anything that's real is going to cost more. Now, on the bright side, these organic vegetables, fruits, and plants, they have seeds. Now, I can't say plants. I mean, like, I guess plants have seeds. I don't know. But I know as far as the fruits and the vegetables, or the fruits that's supposed to have seeds, they do have seeds, the organic ones. Now, I'm going to just use an example, but my example is going to make perfect sense. Now, when I said that the fruits weren't real, the ones without the seeds, the reason why I say that is because they can't reproduce. Now, if you think about it, like, okay, you know how, like, and no offense to anybody, but you know how, like, they have trans women, like the men that used to be men, and they get the surgery, to turn into a woman. They get the boobs and everything and stuff like that. They get the weave, they get the plastic surgery, all of that. Now, they're not able to reproduce, if they were to try to do it the right way, like with the womb, have an actual baby, they can't have a baby because they're not genetically a woman. Now, when you think about these fruits, they don't have any seeds to reproduce, so they're not genetically, you know, right, and I want to say they're not even like, edible, but I mean they are, but they're not right. So as I was saying, the one without seeds aren't the real deal. It's not a real woman. And I'm not saying that, about that, but I'm just saying the seeds aren't in the oranges and stuff like that, or whatever fruits, that don't come with seeds anymore. They're not right. They're not normal. So how can we trust that if we're not even getting, like, it's not even real?
I learned supposedly he had a cure for cancer too. I heard about that.
He had a cure for cancer, AIDS, AIDS, HIV, herpes, diabetes, high blood pressure, blindness. He cured blind people.
Good afternoon. Thanks for coming. Thank you so very, very much. I appreciate you coming to participate in this message that is ours. Not mine, but ours. So this evening, between you and I, we are going to process the information that we need to process today. Because it is evident that something must have gone wrong. We find ourselves sick. Why should we be sick? So tonight, we hope that I would be to you as you have been to me this evening. You came to listen. What are we ingesting? And whatever we are ingesting, did our archaeologists, paleontologists, historians, or Egyptologists, did they take time out to ask about the food that would maintain my hormones, my central nervous system in perfect working condition? No, they didn't ask these questions. This was never even thought of. They went on to tell us about Plato, the philosophers, Plato, Aristotle, Diogenes, as if though that matters. The archaeologists were telling us about the various fossils that was found in Egypt 10 million years ago. The others, the historian, they talk about what took place in Africa so many hundreds of thousands of years ago. But never did one said that he found or that they found a food that is consistent with our cellular structure. And that is of most importance.
The body was not designed to be sick. Bird doesn't get sick. Elephant doesn't get sick. He needs no vet. The lion doesn't need a vet. Neither is a giraffe or any of the natural animals. Why do we get sick? There has been a violation that is costing us our life today. And it would have been okay if I live happy until I die because of the violation, but that isn't what's happening. Because of the violation, I become stressed. I become extremely stressed until I die. Why do we get sick? What is the violation? The violation comes with creation, the understanding of it. The violation is when we have forgot or dismissed the ecclesiastics when it is said, the herbs are for the healing of the nations.
Remember what we said, that God made food for a plant, specifically for plants. Each plant has a different food. Birds, eagle eats meat, not a sparrow, not a hummingbird. He sucked the nectar from the flower. Gorillas, he eats leaves. Polar bear, he eats seal and blood. Homo sapiens is making a mistake someplace, somewhere, because among the animals, there are some that are carnivorous and some that are herbivorous. But among Homo sapiens, everybody eats meat. Something is wrong. Because if among the animals and plants, you could see a distinct food for each cellular structure, well, how come Homo sapiens are exempt from that same law? There are no vegetarian among the Homo sapiens. How I found out that black people should be vegetarians, because when I begin to remove you from that meat and that stuff, that grease, you begin to say in 1 week, how the pain that you had for years begin to disappear. Remember what we said, and this could be investigated, that carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen are the main players in not only supporting life, but in the manifestation of life. You see, everything that is constructed by the universe, creation, or God, has the structure of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, and it is starch-less. Whatever substance that is created by the universe is starch-less.
What we have yet to understand, that there has been a gross violation in the cosmic arrangement of things, how things originally were put together by life itself. We call that nature. In nature, you did not find Arabs in Alaska, nor Africans in Europe. The line of demarcation was clearly drawn, meaning that each cell that represent human beings on this planet, we represent a cell as African people. I am not an Eskimo. I am not an Arab. Neither am I a Chinese. Understanding that, there comes a food with the gene structure of the individual. And you know, this occurs in the human body. The human body could easily be considered a prototype of this whole arrangement, this human body. In the human body, you have iron cells, you have calcium cells, you have cells that are made up of phosphorus and zinc, cells that are made up of carbon and copper. So as we look at this difference in genetical predispositions, we find that there's a food that is also associated with that cell. You do not feed the cells of the blood calcium, you feed it iron. So when you feed black people, you have to understand his gene. What is it that is found or was found in his environment originally? You did not find rice and beans and chicken and hogs and pigs. So, understanding that these things didn't exist on the continent, I decided to look into the organic world. And as I traveled to various countries in Africa, I find that the food is still there, but we have been invaded with foreign substances and foreign philosophies that was diffused. But yes, I arrived at the nutritional guide by selecting the food that is most consistent with the human body.
Excellent.
But there are specifics within that arrangement. Like in the case of Caucasian people could digest lactose. Not so for African people. We cannot.
Right.
And the reason for that is not that we are better or worse. We just happen to be different. We haven't treated that difference. We have not.
Yes.
We talk in terms of good and bad, up and down. We never talk in difference when I am different. My food should be different.
Yes.
That's how I arrive at it.
Excellent. Thanks for that.
What is melanin and what is carbon? Tell us about those two minerals, or whatever they are.
Melanin is not a mineral.
Okay.
Melanin is a word that was used to describe a certain biological function. But that particular identification or category or thing, melanin, is a European identification of what they think activates those neurons in our body that makes us black. But when you break down our body, our biological structure, into what we would have to put it in, which is chemistry, biochemistry, melanin has no place. It's not to be found. What is found in the body that is attributed to melanin is carbon. Carbon not only determines the quality of life in black folks, carbon determines the quality of life in every living plant that exists that is natural. If carbon is absent, there's no life. Melanin, what is it? I don't know.
Why are white people trying to get some? It's a Greek word, melanos.
Well, white folks talk about protein. What is protein? They say one of the 19 amino acids, the building blocks of life. But I know for a fact that that is not a true statement. Because protein, if it was the building block of life, what happened to the gorilla that lives 180 years without eating anything that's contained protein? Unless they're going to say that the plants contain protein too. They're always saying things, and because we have no laboratories
Thank you, Chief.
to investigate those things, then we have to swallow it hook, line, and sinker. Miss Frances Welsing mentioned melanin. And I asked her, what is this thing? And I know she could not adequately answer the question because she was trained by someone European. So when you are trained by a European, and told these things, you have to regurgitate these things. But no, they are completely in error.
Okay, we're going to take a little break for the phone.
We have to be careful. Remember, it is like a brother recommended that you use comfrey for your bones. That is in the books. Iron is one of the most important mineral on the planet. And the reason for that is that iron is the only magnetic mineral on the planet. It attracts every other mineral to it. So when you ingest iron, you are ingesting every other mineral on the planet, and they are 102. This is why when people come to us that are severely anemic, we recommend our iron, our natural vegetation cell food, which is iron fluorine. Not only does it revitalize the cells in the blood, but we should know this, that iron is what conveys oxygen to the brain, and oxygen is what the brain converts and uses for electricity. It is the food of the brain. In the reconnection, we find that carbon is the determining factor in reference to life. The higher the concentration of carbon, the higher the quality of life. When carbon is absent, life is also absent. So what we did, after understanding that these things were not forthcoming, we decided to travel the world, once arriving at the understanding that when God does things, it should be respected. We went to Africa, Central and South America. We find the tropical plants, we put them together, and this is what we found: that there is only one disease. And that was said for the first time to the Supreme Court of New York in 1988, that there is only one disease. That one disease that is afflicting us is the basis for all manifestations of pathology. The mucous membrane has been compromised. Compromised by what? By an acid substance. You see, our body are alkali. The food should be alkali. Being that it is alkali, it is acid-free and it is electrical. The African biomineral balance is a therapeutical approach to pathology that addresses disease on two levels. One, an intracellular cleansing, an intracellular chelation. We have to clean the cells of what? Of the toxins that has been accumulated and brought the disease in the first place. We have to clean the toxins out. It's as simple as that. And second, we have to build the body back up. With what? With energy that is natural, from the natural plants. One of the main players is iron. It is impossible for you to get sick if your iron level is up to par. Everybody that's sick is anemic. And guess who was my first patient? It frightened the hell out of me. I'm washing dishes, see? It was a morning, a Monday morning, I'm washing dishes. And I have my little girl, Usha, on the counter. And a man came in front of my kitchen window. Young man? I said, yes, sir. I heard that you've been experimenting with herbs. He said, yes. Well, I'm blind. I'm blind for 11 years. Could you help me? I said, I'll try.
If you make me see, I give you $1 million. I gave the man the substance. When am I going to see? I said, by Friday. Now, why did I select Friday until this day? I don't know. But I was so sure of myself. But how could a boy that didn't go to school be so sure of himself? So, the man went home with the medicine. And the Wednesday, good morning, young man. I raised my right hand. He said, you raise your right hand. I winked my left eye. He said, you wink your left eye. I said, the man is seeing. At that point of my journey, I couldn't explain that. I know it's a bunch of herbs that cleanse the man's body, but they were all alkali plants.
I have a sister, Peter, she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and she's been in my care for 2 years. I do have her on a fresh food diet, all organic foods, all raw foods, and I'm seeing a big improvement. But I feel as though she needs some other things. And what else can I do to help her? And she has Alzheimer's, yes, sir.
Brain problem, right? Remember what I said, there's only one disease? Okay. When you have mucus in the nasal passage, it is sinusitis. When you have mucus in the bronchial tubes, it's bronchitis. When you have mucus in the lungs, it's pneumonia. But now you have mucus where? For you to have Alzheimer's, where is the mucus? So we have to remove the mucus from out of the system, especially the brain, but then we have to feed the brain. That's where biochemistry comes into play. The brain. Like if the sister was suffering with rickets, that's bones, right? So we have to address calcium. If she had leukemia, it would be blood, that's iron. But now she has Alzheimer's. She has mucus in the brain, which prevents the brain from receiving what? Oxygen. Now, what is the brain composed of? Copper and carbon. That is what produces electricity. Copper and carbon. It's simple. Copper and carbon produces electricity. You go to an electrical plant, and all you're going to see is a big wheel turning, and it's copper. But against the wheel are these carbon brushes, and the friction of the carbon and the copper produces the resonance they call electricity. Electricity is not fire, it is vibration. But when you short circuit it, it's become fire. Yes, sir. Mr. Charles Fisher. Who is Charles Fisher? He was the manager for LL Cool J. That was my second case of hepatitis C. Yes, what is hepatitis C? The liver has been stressed. Right. Beyond, hepatitis C is nothing. Maria Elena from San Pedro had cancer of the liver. Her mother and her aunt bought the black dress to bury her. The doctor sent her home to die. Maria Elena's sister saw a newspaper with me in it. She said, hey, there's a nigger down there in Huntiapa that got a big mouth that says he could do a bunch of stuff. And she came. 2 years have gone by. Maria Elena is healthier than her sister. Yes. What is hepatitis C? It's when the liver has got so toxic and loaded with what? With poison. Blood and starch. So we clean it, clean the body, because you have to clean the intestines, you have to clean the liver, you have to clean the blood. Here it is. Moringa. Moringa has 23 times the iron in spinach. Spinach has iron? No, because spinach, let me take my time because there's a whole lot of information. I don't want to jog it up. Anything that has a pH of 7 plus is alkali. Anything that has less 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is acid. Spinach. Acid. Why compare moringa with spinach when spinach has a starch base? It has no iron. 7 times the calcium in milk. Milk has calcium. Well, I stopped drinking milk 42 years ago, and I could fall on my knees. You drink milk with moringa, because they said to mix it with milk and some pages here, you're not going to fall on your knees at 73. You're going to leave your knees down there. 11 times vitamin A that you find in carrots. Carrots has vitamin A. Carrots belongs on the acid side of life. So right there, and they say it to mix with carrot juice. Why would they do that? Then up here, they talk about the Ayurvedic system of medicine recommends moringa. The Ayurvedic is Indian. The Ayurvedic system of medicine recommends cow milk. The Ayurvedic system of medicine has never cured any disease, nor moringa, nor any other system in the world. You know what this is like? When Steven Seagal tells me to come to his house because he had a headache for 5 years. Well, I knew why the headache was in his head. It was removed in less than 10 minutes. He had the bottle and said, "This bottle is powerful." I said, "Yeah, powerful, huh?" So yeah, the headache is gone. My brothers and sisters, that which was on the market. So they too agreed that it could have been a possibility that this thing had the power, the energy to do what we say it was doing. But what they found in the laboratories that I was charged with was practicing medicine without a license. That was one of the charges. And in that, what happened, they found that the product contained calcium, phosphorus, oblium, gold, silver, protein, whatever they mean by that, and all the other substance that makes up the whole structure of life. So it did not fall in the category of practicing medicine. These are herbal compounds known as natural vegetation cell food. The other one.
After being arrested. Right. So I guess news came out that Dr. Sebi had passed away. If you don't know who Dr. Sebi is all over YouTube. You can look him up on Facebook. Basically, Dr. Sebi is a herbalist. Right? He used the plants, natural food, natural healing to heal all type of diseases. Right. As you can see, the man who cured sickle cell, HIV/AIDS, diabetes, arthritis, stroke, and cancer. So I've been studying Dr. Sebi for like a while now, for a couple of years now, and like through my journey, I've learned a lot from him about what to eat and what not to eat. So Dr. Sebi has been a big inspiration in my life. You know, a lot of his teaching, his knowledge, you know, I got from him. Now again, not everything that somebody teaches or preaches, you're just gonna just do everything they say. The best thing to do is to you take what's useful, you practice it, and see if it works for you, which majority of it will work. Because again, like Dr. Sebi said, your body is electrical, and the only thing for electrical body is electrical foods. You can't put dead food into electrical body. It's not going to work. It's common sense, right? Out of all the diseases here, like so-called like AIDS and strokes and cancer and diabetes, all those can be cured. You know what I'm saying? Just that Dr. Sebi came out and said it, and basically have a target on his back. So I guess the news or whatever they're making up in the news, you know what I'm saying, whatever they're creating in the news, they're saying that Dr. Sebi was arrested for traveling with $37,000 on him in the Honduras airport. So he was arrested there. From what I know, usually the minimum amount of money you can travel with is 10,000, right? That's the minimum. Anything over that, they either confiscate it or tax you on it. You know what I'm saying? Which still confiscating it, if you want to just be honest, right? So the fact that he got arrested for that raises a red flag. But again, Dr. Sebi is the guy that cure HIV, diabetes, arthritis, so he has a target on his back for years. A lot of people don't like him. A lot of the medical industry, pharmaceutical, people don't like him. He is known by people, but he doesn't get the attention that he deserves, like mainstream, like Oprah Winfrey, like a lot of those so-called talk shows that they have out there, Dr. Oz and all those guys. You're never going to see him on that because they don't want him on there, because he's actually curing people. It's actually healing them. It's a big difference than giving people medication that just mask their problems, and they end up have to keep taking the medication to survive. It's big difference, man, because now when you cure them and you heal them, there's no need to be going back to taking the medication. But that's the thing, they don't want somebody like that around because it's messing up the business. The medical industry, pharmaceutical, is a huge business, huge. And the fact that he's coming out and curing AIDS and diabetes and have proof for it, I mean, they don't want him around. Eventually they're going to try to get rid of him. So the story they have is that he was traveling with $37 in the Honduras airport, right? They found $37,000 on him. They arrested him, put him in prison, and I believe he was in prison for a week. Caught pneumonia in there, got sick in the prison with pneumonia, and then they took him to the hospital and he died there. So you can take from that whatever you want to. You can read that news, what they have, what they've written, and I believe there's a Honduras news that came out too, like a live news with showing him being arrested and so forth. So you can take from that whatever you want to, come up with your own conclusion. But as I said again, whenever you have a following and you are trying to help the people in a way, lead them in the right path, lead them in the right path.
Now, before I wrap things up, Dr. Sebi, I just had a few more questions. Marijuana, can you smoke too much?
Well, I'm 80 years of age.
Yeah.
I've been smoking marijuana ever since I was 14.
especially if you're helping to heal people of dis-ease. And, different healers might say that, smoking too much can cause adverse, something, negative in the body if you do
been
too much.
smoking it for 66 years, so I think it needs some more time for me to...
Okay, so there